So this morning, with my new computer and everything, I woke up with the determination to do something I've always wanted to do. I'm naked now, so I'm gonna take a shower, and then we'll get to the video. Also, what is this thing? Hello! Oh. Hello. Welcome to Just Rice. We're doing a live video. If you couldn't tell, this is me, alive. I've been wanting to do this for a long time now. I'm sorry, that thing before, I don't know what was going on. I was struck by the mood to film something, I'm sorry. I have wanted to do like little boot camp kind of things for new YouTubers for a while now. Not to say that I really know what I'm doing as a creator or a YouTuber, but I know enough having watched a lot of YouTube videos and having tried this. No, there are no quotes. I've tried. You've seen me. I've tried for technically about 3 years now. There was a year hiatus in the middle. But I've learned a lot, and I've gone through a lot of annoying situations that I'd love to keep you from having to go through. So, let's start. Thankfully, now that we are in the time of the present, there are lovely channels like Jack Frags, who has got an amazing, oops, that's not the play button, an amazing video about his recording setup. I highly recommend you check it out. Links are in the description. What this guy goes over is OBS, Open Broadcasting. I keep forgetting what the S stands for. Something. Open Broadcasting something. And it is amazing how well this works. If you have a mid to high range computer, I've got a i5 and a NVIDIA 1050 Ti in my system now with 16 gigs of RAM. I've got this whole thing set up. Works really nice. I just tried it out today. Previously, I've been using DxTory, which there's nothing particularly wrong with it. I just had some bad versions, and that messed up the fixed versions that I should have done a clean install, and I didn't. It was a lot of pain on my end that I cannot fault the developers for. These people or person who made DxTory did a great job. The one thing that I wish OBS had that DxTory has is the frame counter, like with Fraps. It might be in OBS, I just haven't found it yet. I only have one monitor, so I don't know if OBS is recording while I'm recording. So I have to constantly check back and forth, look down here where it says record time, and yay, the last 4 minutes were not in vain. As a starting episode, instead of giving you any advice right off, I'm just going to show you what I do most of the time to record stuff. So, let's go for it. So, already some strange stuff going on with OBS. I was trying to get it to work with Premiere Pro open, and at first it didn't, and then I started recording and then opened Premiere Pro. I don't know. So here's the first thing. Organization is key. You're going to make videos and stuff, put them wherever you want, but have a very specific hierarchy of folders. I've got videos, because that's what they are, Just Rice, because me. We'll go to new folder, create this new project, which I'm going to call Discovery QU. And this is where I was very bored and went through my discovery queue for you all, because I don't know. I'm not running out of ideas. Footage. You want a footage folder for your footage. Audio. That's good too. New folder. Projects. That'll be for your Premiere Pro project files, for your multi-track sessions in your audio thing, whether it's Audacity, Audition, any of those audios. And of course, exports for when we export not just the final video, but other stuff. Footage. So let's go ahead, and since we're creating a project, let's put it in projects. And we'll call this guy Douglas. Okay, here we are. Are we still recording? It's still fine. I don't know why I was freaking out before. So let's start with our footage. This. Oh, that's what's recording now. Okay, this I'm going to put into the discovery queue because that's where it should go. Put it in footage. And there it is, our pretty footage folder. So you can do one of two things. One of three things, actually. I'm getting used to looking at the camera, not the monitor thing. Oh, I'm growing. You can click and drag it over. You can double click in there, and then look around your discovery queue, go to footage. Or my favorite thing to do if I have a lot of footage is I just drag the whole folder over down there, and that way I have a bin with all of my footage that I can collapse whenever I'd like, as long as my mouse works. So when you start up Premiere Pro, it'll look something like this. It's all blocky here. I don't really like that, so I keep it in this list mode, because then I can drop that guy down and scroll along here, see that it's 60 frames per second, how long it is, the resolution, all that nice stuff. Same with the audio. And when you've got a lot of things going on, super nice, because you can even put these whole things in another bin folder. Premiere Pro makes it super easy. You just drag it over and the sequence is automatically created with all those little snazzy little details. So I've already messed up. I've skipped a step. Let me show you what I do in Audition. Close all the files. All right, so let's open up our footage and drag the footage into Audition. And as you see here, we've got all these different channels. We've got the video. That's more if you're on multi-track editing. We're not going to worry about that yet. Left, right, left, right. The top two I have set up in OBS to be the sound from my monitor, and the bottom two are me, left channel, right channel for both. So what I do, select that guy, create a new audio file. We'll just call it display audio, because I think that's what OBS calls it. I will mute the right channel, paste that there, do the same thing with that guy, copy, display audio, enable right, disable left, and boom. Now we have a stereo file. That seems a little complicated. That's just the workaround I've done right now, figuring out how OBS works. So, yeah. We don't have to do too much with audio from the computer itself. With the video games, it's super nice, unless there's a poorly mixed game, which does happen, especially on the indie games. You're going to want to peer under the hood a little bit. I'll go and use a compressor on this stuff to lower the high points a little closer to where the lowest, the quietest sound is, and raise this dude up about there. And you can see some things going above 0, which is, you don't normally want it, but I'll fix that with a hard limiter, which is kind of chopping that spike down. And you're losing a little bit of fidelity in that, but it doesn't happen enough in this recording that I'm super worried about it. So it's louder now. This guy is still super quiet, so I'm gonna just individually raise him up about Zaya. I'd say we're done with that one. Display's always super easy. Good way to start out the day and say, hey, I did something. Woo! Now we'll go to my audio. New file, because we're going to create a stereo mix down. Copy. Go to my audio. Make sure only the left channel is selected. Paste that in there. Go to the right. Copy that. My audio again, and disable the left, enable the right. Oops. There we go. Enable the left, and I should hear myself.
I go off of reviews a lot. I don't know what you guys think, but
it's me! Wow! So, this is where the problems start. You're gonna look in these areas where you're not saying anything, and look for the longest one. It's hard when you've made a super long recording, but you wanna say, okay. You're looking for around 30 seconds, if possible. This is nowhere near, but we'll do our best because I don't know where I was going with that. Capture the noise print. Like a Pokemon. Now we have noise print mon. Don't worry about this graph. It's very scary. Don't worry about it. All you want to make sure is that check output noise, play it for a little bit, listen, and pay attention to, I, for some reason, am pointing with my fingers instead of my mouse. Pay attention down here to the output level thing. If you're not seeing anything, then that means it is likely not getting rid of anything, which in my case could be a good thing. Might just mean that the noise floor is very low. If I put this up all the way, yeah, I'm getting something every now and again, but I really don't hear. My room is really quiet right now, which is totally different to my old setup. I'll have to turn my computer on and
did they even know
show you what that sounds like. So I'm very happy with that. I'll take it back down to 40%, because you really don't need anything above 60 unless you're in a very noisy room, in which case you're cutting out some of your voice as well. I'll go over all this stuff in another video. This is just very cursory what I do. Okay, thank you, Kyle. We'll listen to you a little bit later. All right, now here's where compression will save you. Look at these spikes.
Wrong.
Okay, and look at these guys.
New and trending. Figment.
They're super far apart, so we've got to make these guys cooperate. So this spike is around -15. There's some that are a little lower, but if we focus on -15, the lower ones will still come up. If you don't know about how compression works, also do a video on that. It is super handy to know all of this stuff. It will save you, save your life. I like putting an equalizer on my audio because this mic is not fantastic. You live with what you got. So we'll put this equalizer on.
What? How is that fair? Wait, no, how is that fair? Like, once it starts raining, it's like, well, I guess you're gonna die.
I don't know if you heard any difference. I sure didn't, because the volume on this is very quiet. But believe me, it raises the bass tones a bit, and the super high frequency, and that makes the voice seem a little brighter, a little clearer. And the lower stuff is if you want to sound like Markiplier. So it's not the bestest, but there we go. That's gonna be okay. We'll do another hard limiter. Chop those tops. All right, so everything above negative 0.1 dB has been compressed heavily. And that's because when you hit 0 dB, it starts sounding really bad. I don't know if that did it, but you heard what it sounds like. That's what we call clipping. I'll pretend I saved this because I already did this. We'll go over to D-Sky and put in those tracks. So now we have the video tracks and the audio. We have the video's audio tracks and we have our audio tracks. Ours are obviously going to be better because we enhanced everything, we evened out the volume, and made us sound a little closer to Markiplier. So, nowhere close, actually. Now, the issue that you will see here is that the music is super loud, and I am super loud. So, need to pick out what takes priority, obviously me. So we'll go and take this volume down.
RPG.
And just for the heck of it, I'll take my volume down just a hair as well.
Especially that part. Like, this is Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Still peaking a little bit.
70s?
So the important thing is, even though we made sure that our audio files in Adobe Audition were below 0. My camera just died, so I don't really remember where I was. Anyway, 2 very loud files put together are going to make the whole mix louder. That's what I was trying to say.
It's really cool.
Generally, for the web, you want to make sure you're averaging around -3 dB. And the lowest you really ever want to go is -12. If you want to be heard. The worst thing that could happen is if you or your viewers are turning up and down the volume during a video because you don't know proper mixing. I used to edit all my videos on Mac, so bear with me. I am still learning how to do all this snazzy stuff in Windows the way it's meant to be. So here I start off with...
Yeah.
Okay, already I cough. I don't want that.
Take 1 second with me. Does not this sound like boss music from like an old RPG? Especially that part.
Okay, so here I have an issue when I talk where I don't know what I'm going to say 100% of the time. So to fix that, to fix all them pauses, I just cut out that middle bit. Okay, so all that beginning stuff is pointless. It's me building up to the fact that I want to say something to you. So we'll get rid of all of it.
Now, take 1 second with me. Does not this sound like...
I don't know who says does not this sound like, but that's what I said. I'm not going to change it. I don't want to spend the time re-recording all my audio. Fun fact, I did that for my very first video ever, the trolley man. When I initially recorded it, I was so nervous that someone would hear me, and I was very quiet and didn't say a lot. So I went back and and essentially hid in my closet and recorded a bunch of new dialogue, and it worked out way better.
Not 60, 70, late 70s?
Okay, so all of this, I'm thinking that I'm funny, but I'm not, so I'm going to take most of that stammering out, and...
70s? The late 70s? 70s? The late 70s?
No one will know why I said E, but it sounds like me just not being sure of what I'm trying to say. Which was true.
Japanese composers did all that stuff?
So this is one of those things where I'm really not sure I should be putting any of this into the video. And this is a problem that I've had where I start on something and I focus really hard into it and then look at the big picture and say, oh, you know what? This intro had nothing to do with the video I wanted. And if I put this at the beginning, people aren't going to keep watching. So let's move on to the meat of the thing before we get too distracted.
So, this is the first time in forever that I've been able to, the first time at all that I've been able to record my desktop.
Which is cool. So, I'm doing this video mainly for myself and for tiny Kyle that never got to record these kind of videos. Poor me. Obviously, we're taking out all this middle portion because it's pointless. Yuck. I'm going to, not do that. I'm going to separate this a bit just to create a mental note that this beginning bit is separate from the guts. So there's a small potential problem in that since I recorded this without headphones, you may be able to hear what's going on in the background, but it's so faint, I'm hoping it doesn't get picked up.
Which is so cool.
So this is my dialogue. This is the display audio. Once I move this off the display audio, if someone claps here, the clap is going to be somewhere else. Like if I clap here, you're going to hear it again over here. Thankfully, nothing super loud was going on. And since I talk pretty close to my mic with the help of this new guy, which I got yesterday, what's in the background is going to be a lot less obvious to the ears.
I want to take a moment and walk through a discovery queue with you, see what kind of crazy things there are on Steam.
Okay, so all of this, I really don't care about it. Crazy things are on Steam. That's not news to anyone.
So I go off of reviews a lot. I don't know what you guys think, but usually if it's around 90% or higher, then it's a game.
I may do this a little too often, killing the time in between. Sometimes it does kill jokes. If you have that comedic pause in there for a reason, and I went and smashed two phrases together, then the punchline doesn't work. I don't set up for those kind of jokes often, though. At least not intentionally. But it is something to keep in mind.
What it looks like. Also, the
Ooh. Kill that It feels so good every time you find an then you're just like,
also the number of reviews has to be around 100 or so.
Okay, so that was the first bit where my audio matched up with something on the screen. There's this huge pause now, so the last thing I want to do is drag my audio off this on-screen action. When there's music on in the background and it keeps cutting, you're like, the beat is weird and it annoys me, so I'm sure it annoys some of you.
Well, this one's looking pretty good. Body pillow. I don't know. Yeah, so this is...
Yeah, so that all can be taken out. I feel like that's most of what I do is make jokes and then
so this is
10% of them make the final cut. So for that, where I highlighted the text here, I'm going to want to zoom in on that later, but I'm not going to do it now because there's a chance once I'm done making the initial edit, I don't even want this. I don't know yet. When you're recording, you're a little bit under the pressure of, hey, I've got to make something entertaining. Once you're outside of the recording and you're observing it, you'll notice trends. You'll notice connections in the video. Like if you say something at the beginning and then say something very similar, like almost toward the end, you're like, oh, I can tie this thing together with that. And I didn't even do that on purpose. And now, blam. It's a very documentary style of editing.
I've played this before. Good
Ew, gross.
grief.
Yeah, this morning my allergies were really, really bad, so I was coughing all over the place. Take that out, because it's gross. We don't want to hear that. Okay, so initially the video was 16 minutes and 48 seconds. Now it is 16 minutes, which is good. We're cutting out a lot of crap.
I'm going to add it
Usually
to
if the
wish
video
list,
is
but
half the size
yeah,
of
I'm
what
only
it
gonna
once
buy it if
was,
it goes on sale.
I know that I've done a good job,
All that
editing-wise.
stuff. This looks
Not
like
recording-wise. If I did a good
side-scrolling
job recording-wise, I'd be using all of this.
goes on sale. 'Cause I like how much effort it looks
Okay, so stuttering, take that out.
on sale. I like how much effort it looks like has been put in visually
And then we skip to this one. So this is essentially the entire process. It's very boring. That's my process. But let me show you a trick. So what I would do is whenever I was exporting a video, I would make sure that time interpolation optical flow was on, and I would uncheck this box, which usually would be 30, and then switch it up to 60 or 59.94. And yes, that's cheating, but it makes the video look a lot smoother. What I would do after that point is stupid, and that's going into Adobe After Effects and adding a motion blur feature. Because it's like, I watched Freeman's Mind, or Mind of Freeman, whatever that video series was called. I was like, the motion blur is so cool. I want to have that in all my videos. It makes your image blurry. Go figure, but it is harder to see things. Don't add motion blur to your video game footage. It's harder for us to watch. Now I know that, and I will save literally hours. Because for a 5-minute video, it would take 3 hours to render, which then I would put back into Premiere Pro, render that, which would take another 3 hours. It's crazy. For 5 minutes. I've got an updated computer. It's not taking as long anymore, and I'm removing that step, so I should be able to avoid taking a quarter of a day rendering a 5-minute video. Also, I want my videos to be longer because I was asked. So that's my very general process. Covers the basics and stuff. My camera ran out of space. But that's my general process. I'm going to make more easily digested and scripted videos on how best you can record your video game footage and edit and mix sound and all that kind of cool stuff. We'll go over a lot of really useful topics as far as compression and EQ with audio, and then effects that you can use to get more out of your footage. We'll go over color grading and the do's and don'ts of that. If you think that you're doing yourself a favor by upping the contrast a whole lot, watch these videos coming because you'll learn a bit. All right. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's working. Oh my gosh! Oh, this is awesome. Oh, that looks so cool. Well. Wow, look how pretty that is. I had no idea how much it was on the other side. Oh my gosh. Don't worry, friends. Nothing going on in here. No, no, no!